Okay, so as we are delving into the Earth and its history, we also need to know a little bit about the anatomy of the Earth. And that means a little bit about the layers. The layers of the Earth are dealing with how the Earth formed. So this is an important question as we're looking at Earth history, because we will be talking in some details about the formation of the Earth and how these layers formed in the first place and how we know how they formed, because we can't just dig down and see it, as you'll see in my video on the layers of the Earth in a little bit. We really can't dig deep enough. So how do we know? So that gets into some really interesting things. So about 4.5 billion years ago, an immense cloud of gas and dust particles began to coalesce and rotate around a central mass that would become a star, our sun. So we have all this dense material toward the center, everything kind of coalescing and rotating around it. The rocky planets, Mercury, you know which ones I'm trying to say, Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars began to form as more particles coalesced into bodies rotating around this young star, and then they continue to gain mass with meteor impacts that also generated heat. Along with the heat provided by radioactive elements, this infant Earth began to melt, allowing materials to differentiate based on chemistry and density. Heavy metals such as iron and nickel sank toward the middle of the young planet, forming the core. So our inner core here is primarily heavy things like iron and nickel, while lighter, more buoyant elements like oxygen and silicon and aluminum would rise to the surface, forming the crust. So the crust, both oceanic and continental, are made up of the lighter weight elements, though there is plenty of iron in here too. The mantle, which makes up the majority of Earth's volume, encompasses the region between these two layers and contains a mixture of many, many elements. So we want to know a little bit about the layers of the Earth here. So inner core, outer core, mantle, and then the crust. And as we get into plate tectonics over the next couple weeks, we are focusing on the interactions between the lithosphere and the asthenosphere. So the lithosphere, lithos means rock, and is kind of the hard, brittle part of the Earth. And this is going to be consisting of the upper mantle and both types of crust. And then the asthenosphere is kind of a slice of the upper mantle that is pretty mobile. So we actually have movement. It's still solid. The mantle is solid, but it does move. It flows very slowly, like a Play-Doh or a taffy, something like that. So that's a little bit about the inside of the Earth as we delve into more about our planet.